My name is Nicole Supritz. Welcome to the Yin Yoga series. Today our focus is ground. For those of us who aren't familiar, Yin Yoga is a style of yoga that's rooted in both Chinese medicine and Buddhist mindfulness practices. Combines both of these theories and practices with the traditional Indian Hatha yoga asanas to create a gentle but passive form of movement therapy that works to unwind and unstick the fascial trains or the energetic meridians in Chinese medicine. And so Yin Yoga focuses on more of a stillness in each posture, as well as holding each shape for a longer period of time and consciously relaxing the muscles so that we can get deep into the fascia. So today our focus is grounding. You'll need a mat or a blanket to sit or lie on, a couple bolsters for support, and a block or two as well. If you don't have them, you can use a pillow or a cushion, as well as a thick, sturdy book will do just fine. So let's begin our practice. As we focus on grounding the body, we will focus on turning our sensations inward. So the invitation is to close the eyes or bring them to a soft, low gaze as we symbolically shift our awareness inward during our time here together. And as we shift our awareness from thought to sensation, we may even begin to notice feeling a bit more grounded in the body. Just begin by becoming aware of and noticing where your feet meet the mat or the floor. Feeling into that as much as you can. Where your legs touch the floor. Become aware of your sit bones as they ground into the floor. And simultaneously lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Feeling into the elongation in the spine and the spaces in between the spine as you continually ground the sit bones down into the mats, into the ground, into the earth. Just begin by observing the breath here, just noticing how the breath is moving through you in this moment. No judgments or alterations or changes just yet. Simply noticing. We'll begin to shift into a breathing technique in which we will direct our breath into the lowest part of our belly. And as we do this, we'll invite the breath to expand like a balloon, 360, front, back, side to side. So on your next inhale, go ahead and draw the breath down deep into the belly and allow the abdomen to expand like a balloon all the way around. And on the exhale, simply just relax the abdomen and allow the breath to effortlessly leave the body. Again, on the inhale, breathing into that lower belly, that navel area, 360, front, back, side to side. Filling up that balloon in the abdomen. And on the exhale, simply relaxing, releasing, allowing the breath to naturally leave the lungs. Continue this at your own pace for a few breaths here, really breathing into, directing the breath down into the lower belly area and blowing up that balloon as big as available for you today. belly 360 breathing is incredibly grounding and regulating for the body. So it's a simple breath that we can come back to anytime throughout our practice or the day when we would like to feel a more sense of groundedness. Alright, we'll begin our practice here today by bringing our hands to our knees and just inviting some gentle rocking back and forth here. And in this rocking, we'll focus on the opening in the back that we're offering when we concave. Inhaling, rising the chest towards the ceiling, offering some space in the chest. But we're really going to focus on feeling this rocking and this space that's opening within the hips and the pelvic floor, as well as the lower belly and abdomen. So beginning to feel into that area which grounds us, which connects us to the earth. As soon as that feels complete, go ahead and invite some rotations. Again, feeling into the sit bones, where the sit bones meet the ground. Feeling into the hip joints as they subtly begin to open here. Switching in the other directions when that feels right. Deeply feeling into our pelvic floor, into our hips, into our lower belly, into our core. Whenever that feels complete, bring ourselves back to a neutral position. Go ahead and just invite some opening in the shoulders here. So on the inhale, bringing the shoulders to the ears. On the exhale, bringing them back and down nice and slow. Inhale, up towards the ears, back, down, nice and slow. A few more rotations here before we switch directions. And that feels complete for you. Going ahead and coming to a stillness before you inhale, bringing the shoulders back up to the ears and then drawing them forward and down on the exhale. Inhale up to the ears, exhale, forward and down. Good. Whenever that feels complete for you, coming back to stillness, connecting back with our sit bones on the ground, feeling deeply into all of the areas of the body that are connected with the floor. Connecting our breath with our lower belly, breathing into this area. Expanding in all directions on the inhale. On the exhale, just releasing and relaxing. And as we move into the first pose here, you want to make sure that you have a bolster or two or a couple cushions available for some support. So go ahead and bring your feet or your legs straight on the mats. Go ahead and remove any flesh from underneath the sit bones if that's necessary for you. We're going to start by bringing one of the legs to the side of our buttocks here. And the position of the foot here can be either straight, it can be out to the side, it can be a little bit further away or really tucked up nice close. whatever is available for you. The target area that we're looking to offer some opening to is the front of the thigh as well as the front of the abdomen here, so the front body line. And once you find a comfortable position, that for your ankle and your foot here, if this feels like it's enough of a stretch and you're feeling that nice broad openness here, you can remain seated with your arms either at your side or in your lap, nice and relaxed. If you would like to explore a little bit more of a deeper opening, you can go ahead and slowly walk ourselves back here and see what's available for us today. And if that feels like you'd like some more, you can go ahead and bring yourself down onto your forearms. And if that feels like it's too much, you can sit yourself back up. If the forearms feels like it's enough support for you, then you can go ahead and grab your bolster and bring it flush up against your back here, and go ahead and find a height that works well for you and provides enough support. And go ahead and lower yourself down onto the bolsters or the cushions. Now, if we're feeling any sharp, short, localized pain, come out of the position, back up to the seated position, nice and slow. We're looking for a nice, broad, even, wide stretch along the front of the thigh into the front of the abdomen. You can experiment with the placement of your knee there. You can bring it closer to the midline or further away, taking your time. And you can also explore with the position of your pelvis. If you're feeling some pinching or some tension in your lower back, you can slowly lift your pelvis up, tuck your pelvis towards your navel there, allowing for some length in your sacrum. And you can also experiment with the placement of your arms. So you can leave them down at your side, or you can go ahead and bring them up above your head, which is the full expression, but just an invitation today. So you can go ahead and explore which shape provides you the best broad, open stretch for the front body line there. And once you do, commit to stillness for a few minutes here. Making sure that the areas around the eyes, the eyelids, the eyebrows are nice and soft and relaxed. Checking in with the jaw, making sure that the jaw is nice and soft, that there's some space for the tongue to sit. Checking in with the shoulders, making sure that they're nice and heavy away from the ears, as well as the abdomen, making sure the belly is soft and supple for the breath. And lastly, the pelvic floor, checking in here, making sure there's no unnecessary tension or holding. And then just scanning the body for any other areas that are unnecessarily gripping or holding. We would like to feel like there's no spaces that are efforting more than they have to be. We're just letting gravity do the work here as we feel into the opening in the front body line. Again, using our breath as an anchor to bring us back to the present moment and back to our bodies. As the mind drifts, which it naturally will, just softly and gently, compassionately, bringing our awareness back to our bodies to ground us in the present moment. You may feel into breathing into the lower abdomen or the lower belly there and just noticing how that feels for you. Exploring the sensation of feeling grounded within the body. Maybe noticing an area that feels nice and grounded and seeing if you can spread that good grounded feeling throughout the rest of your body. Just exploring what that feels like for you. Whenever that feels complete, you can go ahead and bring your arms to your sides if they're not there already. We're going to very slowly and gently walk ourselves up, back to a seated position, an upright position. Go ahead and very nicely and slowly, maybe even manually helping the knee joint here, bring your leg back to a straightened position. We're going to go ahead and go right into the next pose, so you can take the other leg and bend it backwards to be right next to the buttocks. Again, exploring the position of the foot and the ankles, seeing what feels good for you. And then you can begin to explore this side, because every side is different every day. And so we can begin to slowly either stay in this upright seated position if that feels like it's enough for you today, or you can begin to slowly lower yourself and explore what it would feel like coming back down onto the forearms or onto the cushion. And as long as you're feeling no sharp localized pain, then you can go ahead and lower yourself down onto the bolster nice and slow. Again, if you're feeling any pinching in the knee, you can explore moving the knee out or in towards the midline. But of course, if there's any localized, sharp shooting pain, bringing ourselves back into the upright seated position and just exploring that today. If your lower back is feeling any tension or any tightness there, you can explore slowly lifting the pelvis and tucking the pelvis towards the navel to allow for some lengthening in the sacrum and the low back there. You can explore the position of your arms here. You can keep them down by your side or bring them up above your head if that's available for you today. Again, feeling into that nice, broad, wide opening that we're offering to the side of our body now, through the front thigh and into the front abdomen there. Making sure that our body is feeling nice and relaxed, the face, shoulders, abdomen, and pelvic floor. Scanning the rest of the bodies for any areas that would like some more relaxation, and just offering that there. See if you can begin to feel into the support from the earth beneath you. As we begin to feel into the support from underneath us, that grounds us, that lifts us, that holds us, that nurtures us, begin to explore allowing yourself to sink into the earth, allowing yourself to be more supported and more held by the earth itself. Just explore what that feels like for you. Seeing if the body can sink down into the earth maybe 10% more. Knowing that you are fully held and supported by the earth beneath you. And as the mind wanders, if it does, which it's completely normal, bringing it back gently and slowly, compassionately but deliberately, back to the present moment, back to our practice here, back to our body and the sensations that we are feeling and experiencing. breath as an anchor to the present moment and to our body. Couple more breaths here. Whenever that feels complete for you, bringing the arms back down to the sides, if that's where they are, and very slowly and gently walking ourselves back up to a seated position, no rush here. And then go ahead and very slowly, maybe even manually, bringing our legs back out in front of us. Removing the bolsters behind us and finding ourselves to a nice lying position for a moment here. And as we do, just simply exploring any shifts in sensations in the body and mind that have occurred since we began our practice here today. Are there any areas that feels different than they did earlier? Maybe more spacious, more alive, more grounded. Maybe you can just feel more deeply into these areas than you did before. Using our breath to direct our awareness. And when that feels complete for you, bringing ourselves back up very slowly to an uprighted seated position. From here, you can go ahead and grab one of your blocks, and we're going to explore a supported bridge pose. And so I'm going to demonstrate this first, and then we'll explore it together. So we'll start this pose when we explore it together by bringing ourselves down onto our backs and keeping our knees bent with our feet as close to our sit bones as is available. And we'll bring our block to be underneath our sacrum. And we want the block to be lengthwise, not up and down the spine, but rather across the spine lengthwise. Across the sacrum, which is the triangle bone on the low back. So we'll begin by exploring the shape, and you can begin at a lower height if you'd like. So you can begin with the block flat on the ground. You can try it with the block lengthwise across the sacrum on the second height, or you can explore on the top height as well if that's available for you today. So we'll go ahead and explore that together. Again, bringing yourself onto your back, knees bent, feet as close to the sit bones as available. Take your block as you gently raise your pelvis towards the ceiling and explore a height that feels like it gives a nice opening to the front body line through the hips, into the abdomen, and into the legs. So once you find a height that works for you, again the block is lengthwise along your sacrum, the triangular bone on your low back. Go ahead and find a shape that's available for you today. And once you do, you can either keep your feet as they are, or if it's available, you can go ahead and walk your feet forward to be nice and straight. Again, we don't want to feel any sharp stabbing or localized pain in the low back here. Just nice and broad open stretch in the front body line here. If you are feeling any, go ahead and lower the block level down to the next height. And as we begin to explore this pose and commit to stillness, go ahead and check in with the shoulders, make sure they're nice and heavy and away from the ears. Checking in with the eyes, the eyebrows, The space around the eyes, making sure they're nice and relaxed, as is the jaw and the neck. Checking in with the abdomen here, making sure the abdomen and the belly is nice and soft and supple for the breath, as well as the pelvic floor, making sure there's no unnecessary tension or holding here. And as we begin to bring ourselves into exploring the sensations in the body, remembering that as the mind wanders, which is completely normal, to very gently and slowly bring our awareness back to the present moment and back to the body. As a grounding mechanism, we can bring our awareness to the sensations in the body and use this awareness of our internal world as a portal to groundedness and feeling at home in our bodies. So whenever you feel the mind begin to wander or follow a narrative or a thought pattern, as you notice it, gently bringing it back to bring your awareness to the sensations in the body, and just noticing how this shifts your sensation or your felt sense of feeling grounded and feeling embodied in the present moment. And using the breath to direct our awareness to feel into the sensations that we're experiencing. Just noticing what's coming up for us in the body and the mind without judgment, without preference, but simply observing with equanimity. Again, feeling into the supports that is provided to you from the ground, from the earth beneath you. And feeling into that support while simultaneously allowing the body to sink into, to ground into the earth as much as is available. Just a few more breaths in this shape here, exploring the sensations and using our awareness of the sensations as an anchor to ground us in the present moment. Whenever that feels complete for you, very slowly beginning to walk your feet back to close to your sit bones, if they aren't already. Very gently raising the pelvis, nice and slow, tucking it towards the navel, keeping the pelvis tucked, removing the block, gently, slowly, very controlled, keeping the pelvis tucked towards the navel, lower the pelvis onto the ground. And this may be very subtle, or it may feel some intense sensations in the pelvis. Keeping the knees tucked, bringing them to the chest, giving them a nice squeeze as you create some length in the low back there. And just breathing into your low back for a moment. Feeling into the shifts and the changes that shape has offered our body and our mind. Whenever that feels complete for you, very slowly, very gently, bringing our feet back to the mat here. We can go ahead and gently bring ourselves up to a seated position. And as we do so, bringing our knees to a gentle cross-legged shape, we're going to go ahead and explore bringing one of our legs to be on top of the other knee. So the knee might be able to go ahead and stack right on top of the other knee here. It may be open a little bit. It may just be a simple cross-legged position, but we are looking for a nice opening in the front of our thighs here and the front of our abdomen. So go ahead and explore a stacked knee position that feels good for you today. Again, we don't want any sharp, localized pain. And as you do so, maybe removing the flesh beneath your sit bones if that feels necessary for you. On the inhale, allowing for a nice elongated spine, we'll bring the arms above our heads on the inhale. And on the exhale, we will simply drape ourselves forward. Now, no efforting or stretching here, just allowing gravity to do the work as we simply allow ourselves to drape forward. And now the space that we are targeting here, the opening, will be the outside of the hips here, as well as you may feel it on the inner hips as well. So we're really looking into grounding into the opening in the space in the hips. Now, making sure that the arms are nice and heavy and relaxed in front of us, as well as the neck and the head follow. You can give the neck a little nod, a little shake up and down, and just make sure that the neck is nice and relaxed. Checking in with the eyes and the jaw, making sure they're nice and relaxed. The shoulders are nice and heavy, away from the ears. The abdomen and the belly, soft and supple. The pelvic floor, also relaxed and soft, no unnecessary holding here. Allowing ourselves to really feel into gravity pulling us down into the earth as we feel simultaneously the support that the earth offers us. As you begin to notice the thoughts that arise as the mind activity wanders, simply noticing without judgment and just bringing the awareness back to the present moment. And as we explore the mind activity, you may begin to notice that a thought arises, it exists, and then it disappears. Naturally, without us having to do anything at all. As long as we are simply just observing the thought, without judgment, without preference, without craving or aversion, we can allow the thought to naturally arise, exist, and then fade away, without having to do anything but observe with equanimity. So just see if you can practice just observing your thoughts with equanimity and notice them as they arise, exist, and disappear. Using these sensations in the body as an anchor back to the present moment whenever you need to. We'll be in this pose for just a few more breaths here. Whenever that feels complete for you, very slowly and gently pushing ourselves back up to an upright seated position. Go ahead and bring the legs forward as you switch the position of which leg was on top and which leg was on bottom. So the leg that was on bottom before will now be on top and vice versa. Again, finding that range that works for you today. Again, removing the flesh from underneath the sit bones. On the inhale, bring the arms above the head, a nice elongated spine. And on the exhale, allowing ourselves to drape forward, no efforting here, just gravity doing the work. As we allow ourselves to drape ourselves over our bodies and find a nice comfortable position. The neck and the head are nice and relaxed and heavy. As we feel that nice opening in the outside of the thigh here, and opening of the hips and the pelvic floor, making sure that the pelvic floor is nice and relaxed, no unnecessary tension here. The belly is soft and supple for the breath. The shoulders are heavy away from the ears, and the muscles of the face and jaw are nice and relaxed. Inviting ourselves to, again, use the sensations in the body to ground us in the present moment. Using our breath to direct some awareness to the sensations that we're experiencing. Noticing both the sensations as well as the mind's activity or the thoughts that arise with non-judgments, with equanimity, just noticing and observing what's coming up for us in this pose. As we continue to use the sensations in the body and the breath as an anchor to ground us in the present moment and explore the nature of our thoughts, you may notice that as the thought arises, exists and disappears, there's a space between the thoughts. And in this space, we can truly ground into our bodies and into the present moment. And I invite you to explore this space between the thoughts as a portal to feel your most embodied and grounded self. As long as we are not gripping to or trying to get rid of any thoughts, it simply disappears on its own. And we again experience that space between the thoughts. You may begin to become aware of the fact that all you have to do is simply relax into awareness, and this groundedness, this felt sense of being embodied in the present moment reveals itself without any doing or any efforting or trying. So this practice is really a practice of non-doing, of simply observing and resting in awareness with equanimity, with acceptance of all that is arising for us in the body and the mind. Just another breath here, and on your next exhale, go ahead and slowly bring yourself up to a upright seated position. Go ahead and unwind your legs here, slowly and gently. And I invite you to work your way onto your knees and your hands as we find ourselves in a wide leg child's pose. So you're going to be sitting on your heels, your toes will be touching in the back, and we will bring our knees out nice and wide. And we're going to go ahead and lower ourselves down onto the mat. And if you do need a cushion or a bolster today, go ahead and grab that now. And you can go ahead and lower yourself onto the cushion or the bolster or the mat and bring your arms down to your side. If you make sure that your neck and your head are nice and supported so that they can fully relax and let go. And as we explore this last pose here together, the invitation is to stay here for 5 to 10 minutes, or as long as is available for you today, and really feel into the earth as it supports us, as it holds, nurtures, and nourishes, as well as feel into our bodies as they sink into, as they ground into the floor, into the earth. And just explore the sensations and the shifts in sensations that have occurred since we began our practice here together. Go ahead and stay in this position as long as it is available for you today, or as long as you feel called. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you have a nice, grounded, and embodied day.